Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, and welcome to this special edition of the Amateur Otaku podcast, where we retake our conversation on My Hero Academia manga. We are covering chapters 391 to 395, which is the final encounter during the war arc between HIMIKO Toga and OCHACO URARAKA URAVITY. Mike and I share our thoughts on the amazing conclusion of this arc that we have dubbed Bloody Love. Thank you for joining us again. If you like what we do here at the Amateur Otaku podcast, make sure you click on that like button, subscribe, and click on the bell for notifications so you don't miss any awesome content, especially My Hero content. So without further ado, here is our thoughts on Bloody Love, My Hero Academia chapters 391 to 395. Check it out. I don't know. So now we got to move along. The next 6 chapters, we're going to talk about the best girls, or some of them.
Two out
The
of the
battle
four
between
best girls.
Himiko Toga, Gravity, chapters 391 to 395.
Oh,
There's
man, like it went longer than that. Wow. Okay.
yeah, it was 6 chapters, but it's funny because also, and it happens a lot with um the whole Armored All Might fight with Ray for one. It's the whole thing of he does this mix of one week he'll do like a 7-page chapter, and then the other week he'll do like a 17-page chapter, and like he changes to and fro depending on the story beats that he wants to do. Like this one, I think had a little bit of that too.
Yeah.
That's why it took a lot longer. Now, Himiko Toga, we see a different side of her quirk, like a limitation to her quirk, which I think was interesting. We have a quirk awakening for Gravity, for Raka.
Yep.
Which I think was brilliant and awesome. The fact that Himiko was Oshako's villain. I mean, they've been setting this up forever. But I like how Horikoshi literally took everything that he planted from every encounter between them to build what's going on now. Like I felt that we got complete closure and full circled that whole storyline, even though these were like very sporadic moments. Like it was this one moment in the forest in season 3 when they
Yeah.
stole Bakugo. It was that moment in season 6, and now we have this and little moments here and there with Deku and whatever, right? Like I like the fact that he was able to bring all that here and then explore that with deeper meaning. But I also like the fact that it's treated. This is what you know. This is where I think he succeeds as a writer, because you can take all of the wondrous panel and comic book stuff, right? You can take all that away, and this is still a well scripted argument and conversation between two people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you can watch this in a drama and it would still be impactful. It just so happens that it's happening in My Hero Academia. So you have all those extra bells and whistles. So I did appreciate that a lot. And I like the way it ended. It was corny, but good.
It's very corny. Uraraka and Toga's rivalry has been corny since the beginning. And I think that's why I both enjoy and hate this part of the story, because I guess a part of me always wished that Horikoshi would do more. And that's just kind of an issue with female characters in general and some of these shonen type stories of like Uraka is really interesting. Toga is a really interesting character. And I think he had the groundwork to do something really cool, but it really boils down to I like Deku and I like you, and then you guys were mean to me. And I don't like that anymore. It's like there's still a
Does it
like
though?
that
Does
was
it though?
eh,
Interesting. I didn't know that you saw it that way.
that that's really what it kind of boils down to. Like, there's still a little bit more nuance to it. That was an oversimplification of it, I will admit. But like,
I think it was a drastic oversimplification, but keep going.
yeah, I just never am invested in that, like, that side of the story, because I feel like Toga's entire character, she is a product of the system, right? She's one of the members of the
Yes.
League of Villains who, much like Twice, that's why they relate so much to each other. She's not an evil person. Her quirk
Right.
requires her to have blood. So society should make, like, her doctor should give her blood. That's what should happen here. Instead of blood transfusions, you just give the kid blood to drink once a month and be done with it. And
Do you
Uraraka,
imagine? Do you
yeah.
imagine it's like a George? Well, spoilers for anybody who's watched or hasn't watched Gen V. There's this one character that their quirk
Mm,
is that they're able to morph in and out of the different sexes. So he
okay.
can be a man whatever he wants. He can be a woman whenever he wants.
Gender fluid.
That's kind of that. If that were the case, like they just give her random blood, that's gonna be like her quirk of the week. Oh, this day, oh, she's a sumo wrestler. This other day, that's another anime altogether.
That'd be
It's like
hilarious.
iZombie.
Yeah. I would actually really, really love this spin-off show that we just pitched for Himiko Toga. No, but like,
Yes.
I feel like their battle, like, Uraka is very much, I want, like, she wanted to become a hero for all the wrong reasons. She wanted to be a hero
Yes.
for money. She wanted to be a hero, not necessarily for fame, but so she can be well off, take care of her family. Noble
Right.
reasons, but also Stain would kill her. That's the type of hero she would have been. You know? And so the idea of the system
Well said.
creating a false hero in Uraraka and
Right.
creating a villain out of Himiko Toga could have been really fascinating to see that battle of ideologies. And so for it to be boiled down to as simple as Horikoshi tackles it left me feeling very underwhelmed from it. And that's just how I feel about Uraka as a whole in this series, because she's a really great character, but we underutilize her and underdevelop so many of her moments. It kind of just leaves me feeling empty with it.
So here's how I saw the struggle,
Mm,
right? And the whole thing, right? Everything you said is correct. Like the way Uraraka's origin is pitched and how it's processed as she's telling her story, whilst being handled by twice doubles. Um, Himiko Toga. By the way, how they hurt each other in the middle of all this, I have no clue. Um, but you know, that's besides the point. It's imagination.
look, Mandalay had the mental link and she just clued in Toga into it. That's what happened. There you go.
Hey man, hey man. And then the
She
whole
gave them
thing
a
of like
private
Himiko,
channel.
yeah, they have their own Discord. Now the whole thing with Himiko Toga, her being ostracized because of the type of quirk that she has, which again it ties into the whole heteromorph situation, as a as a symbolism to racism and exclusion and that kind of type of discrimination. Um, but the fact that like you said she was the fit, just like Shigaraki, the system failed her,
Yeah.
and all she wanted was to be told that it's okay. You're built different, but it's okay. That doesn't
Right.
mean you're not cute. That doesn't mean you can't be better. That doesn't mean. But to me, I think what makes this so powerful, because I don't think it has anything to do with the whole Deku thing. That's kind of what I like about this, because Deku is left out of it entirely. The only time Deku is mentioned is because he reminds Toga about someone she liked, and because Oshaku officially and verbally declares that she's in love with Deku. Like this is the moment where she actually says it, right? So big moments, but he has
Yeah.
nothing to do with the type of the conversation. But the reason why I love it from a hero standpoint is because this is that one act that Oshako performs where she becomes a hero for Himiko Toga simply by being kind
Mm,
and impacting her that way. And what I think made the weight more palpable was that towards the end, when they are finally like understanding each other, and Himiko's preparing a transfusion for Ochako
Yeah.
because she just stabbed her. It's the whole thing where she says, "I know for a fact that everything that we've talked about, and the fact that you've made me feel better, this doesn't change the world. This doesn't change the past. It doesn't change every hurt and everything that I felt. But the fact that you took the time to reach out to me made me feel better and made me feel hopeful. And it made me see the world differently, which is what heroes are supposed to do. So it's not just a friendly connection, but a hero connection that Uraraka is able to bring forth and come in contact with Toga. So that's to me that's why it works for me.
Yeah.
Which is why I
That
felt like
Go
it
ahead.
was oversimplified.
I guess my thing, like I completely get where you're coming from. And in theory, that could have worked for me. We've been in a war arc for like 3 years. So like the resolution of this, like I feel like I either needed a couple more encounters between these two to like develop this conversation a
Fair,
bit more. Cause like
fair.
the last time they were together, Toga was very open and very honest with Ochako of like, would you kill me? Because she just saw Twice get killed by Hawks, right? And Uraraka is very abrasive and not receptive of Toga at all. So it, like I feel like they should have had a couple more encounters in between that point and this point, because Toga just dropping all of her ideals and everything felt very abrupt. Like I
Like
get what
at
he
that
wanted,
moment,
right? I get what he wanted to
fair.
do, and I respect it. And I feel like that is the proper conclusion to their story. I want to make that clear. I just
Yeah.
feel like again, you have the chapters on the screen. It was only 4. That probably should have been 5, 6. Like it felt like it resolved itself too quickly for as hurt as Toga was, right? Like she's making all these twice doubles. She is attempting to kill all of these heroes, and on a dime, she drops everything because she talked to Ochako. And it's like
Well,
that's Takano Jutsu cranked up to 1,000.
well, see, you're not wrong. I can see where you're coming, and I present this to you. During the whole process that she was doing all of this, we get multiple hints that she's questioning what she's doing.
Yeah, because she's
And
not a bad person.
right. And Ochako was just the last little thing that she needed to just, well, apart from the fact that Jin's blood wore off. So it
Right.
wasn't even like because she wasn't going to stop, but Oshako's thing helped, and then the blood. Do you know what I mean? So it's just all the circumstances fell together. But I get what you're saying.
It's just
I
a
don't agree
lot
with
for me to buy into it. That's all. Especially
Fair,
because again, like my
fair,
Hero Academia has been building up to this encounter. Because we were talking about this
true.
a year ago. Because there's so many characters, there's so many plot lines. So it's like by the time we finally get to Toga versus URAVITY, I'm just like, oh, okay, I wanted a bit more, but it's fine. It's not bad. It's one of those things where, again, if the anime adapts this and they start fleshing it out and padding it out a bit more, it may work. But as it stands right now, it's like it's a cool idea to me, but it could have been handled way better.
I wonder if this conclusion suffers because of its disconnection from where it originated in the war. Because remember, the battle against Toga started what 40 chapters ago.
Right.
So that may be part of the problem too, like you were saying. The
Yeah.
fact that there's this very strong disconnect from the events too. I wonder if you
It
get that
feels
whole
like it
thing
was
streamlined,
never
if it feels
important.
better.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
always feels like an afterthought. And even in the way it's presented of like, okay, we cut away from this really big dramatic moment with the Todorokis. We spend about a month's worth of chapters here, 4 chapters, and then we immediately go to the next monumental event that's going to take another 10 to 15 chapters to resolve. It's just like it just feels like it's underserved and was always an afterthought. And yeah, the
Fair.
distance between when because again we're introduced to Toga the same time we're introduced to Dabi, but I feel like we've spent way more time developing Dabi and Shoto's rivalry as opposed to Uraraka's
True.
and Toga's. And granted, theirs is way more personal. They're literally brothers. So like, and Endeavor is a big part of the story. So I get why Dabi gets more time and more focus. But Uraraka just never felt like that story was important to Horikoshi enough to like we need to go back to this well and like develop it. Even if we're developing Toga away from Uraraka, like when we're
Yeah.
following the League of Villains, Toga's not doing too much with them. There was a point in time where she left the League of Villains. We don't know what she was doing. We still know what she was doing. She's just not in panels for so many
She
chapters.
came back though.
Right. And it's like it would have been cool if like Toga was still trying to find herself because she is having doubts and second thoughts, and Shigaraki's being taken over by All for One, and she doesn't know if she wants to follow him. Like there could have been so much we've done with Toga and Uraraka separately to even when we get to this point. I buy the turn, but you know,
Fair
that's
enough.
me rewriting it, and I'm not trying to do fanfic today.
I have a feeling that all of us, and you guys listening, we're all going to end up finishing this and go, give me more tie-ins, Horikoshi.
Give me more team up missions. You guys are cooking over there too.
Everybody cooking. But yeah, I do find it interesting. I wondered. So I'm gonna shoot the question back to you, just like you asked me about Dabi. Does Toga survive the transfusion?
I don't think so. You read this one more recently than I did, but my read on it was that she wasn't going to. And like this was her sacrifice of like she's saving the person she loves, because I don't like we haven't mentioned this, but by all accounts and from supplemental material Horikoshi is like written, Toga is bisexual, so like she is legitimately in love with Uraraka just as much as she is with Deku. So like
Yeah.
her sacrificing herself for one of the three people on Earth she legitimately cares about, you know, and twice is already deceased.
Right.
I think I don't know. Me personally, I would prefer her to die here, but I think thematically, I can see Horikoshi saying this is it for Himiko Toga, because I don't know what you do with her after this anyway. She's just gonna rot in Tartarus after this.
Well, I do like though, which again, it's another turn with the whole Uraraka being a real hero angle. There's a line that Himiko drops as she's getting ready to do the transfusion, where she goes, "So what were you planning to do? Come by the prison and just bring me blood donations from time to time? Is
Right.
that what your plan was?" And then she goes, but at this point you need it, so instead of me taking blood, I'm gonna give blood." Which again is a big change, a big grow up time for. But I kind of like the idea of Uraraka building this relationship across the glass with Himiko in a way. I like that idea, but I
That
guess
would
we'll
be
know in.
ideal. Like, I mean, I don't want this in it. Like, by all accounts, Toga's kind of innocent. Like, she has killed people, but like, again, product of the system. So,
Yeah,
and she's probably the only member of the League of Villains that can be legitimately redeemed.
yeah,
So it'd be nice if they followed through with that, because, and this is again when things get a little muddy. Horikoshi spent all this time developing these villains, but a lot of them also like have just doubled down on their ideologies of like, I'm just gonna be the demon king and take over the world and burn it all down, and you know. And so to have at least one of them be saved, I think would be a lot more satisfying and make the
yeah,
payoff of showing their tragic backstories worth it. Because
yep,
if you're gonna make them evil for evil's sake, I didn't need to see Shigaraki to decay his entire family. Like I wasn't rooting for him anyway. So
yeah. We already saw that. We're good.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Fair, fair enough, fair enough. Um, those are our thoughts, guys. I call that arc bloody love. That's my invention. It's probably horrible. Horikoshi, if you like it, you can take it. I give you permission, even though it's your mom.
Drop the Y, blood love. It's cleaner.
Bloodlust. No, it's
That actually actually kind of works.
Stop it. Okay, so for the sake of clarity, so we've enjoyed talking about bloodlust. But yeah, this great chapters, conclusion of this battle. Let us know what you think. Did you enjoy this last couple of chapters? Um, let us know what you think. And are you on Mike's side where you felt that it wasn't earned, or are you a sucker like me and you just were happy for them?
One of
So
the big resolution points of this is her saying she's pretty.
no, the cutest smile in the world.
It's adorable.
Yes. It's corny as fuck. So those were our thoughts on My Hero Academia's chapters 391 to 395, what we have dubbed Bloody Love, Bloodlust, which is the culmination of the amazing journey that have brought the characters Himiko Toga and Ochako Uraraka / URAVITY together. I thought it was a great conclusion. Mike had his thoughts. He wasn't as convinced as I was, but I think the conversation was really able to capture the two sides of the argument of how most of the fandom probably received this arc. But more importantly, we want to know what you think. Are you on my side of the fence where you thought that the culmination was perfect or great or meaningful, or were you let down like Mike was? We really want to know your thoughts because we love talking My Hero Academia with all of you guys over there, and we enjoy listening and seeing your comments in the comment section below. If you love what we do here at the Amateur Otaku podcast, please make sure to click on that like button, subscribe, and click on the bell for notifications so you do not miss any single episode of anime, manga content, and of course, My Hero Academia content. Stay awesome, and keep watching anime. Go beyond, plus ultra. Peace.